Leyenda viviente, Robert Smith.
Bueno, pues aquí estamos, ni nada más ni nada menos que con Robert Smith. Y espero que a todos los fans de The Cure, que sé que hay muchísimos en México, pues les guste y les sirva de algo todo esto. I just say that there's loads of fans in Mexico. You're aware of the quantity of fans that is in Mexico?
Yes, it makes me feel very guilty about the fact that we haven't played there for a long time.
Yeah, they have a complaint, you know?
I know, yeah. They sent us a petition about this thing.
Yeah. But what can we do about it?
Well, I'm pretty sure that we will play in Mexico.
Promise?
Yeah. If we ever get on an aeroplane and fly down to that part of the world, definitely Mexico will be our first stop. So it might be this year.
For this Greatest Hits album, and having like such a long way writing songs, tell me about the moment of decision where you go and sit and choose each of the songs. Why those songs? When does it came?
Well, it was pretty obvious to me which were the songs that would go on the Greatest Hits, because I wanted the Greatest Hits to be really the hits. It's not really my choice of favourite Cure songs. I think there are much better Cure songs, but they are the singles that kind of got the most airplay. They sold the most. They mean the most to people. They mean the most to the band. And really, I think there's 18 tracks on there, 18 songs. Probably 14 or 15 just pick themselves. They're really obvious. There's only one or two that I had to leave off that I felt maybe they should be on and maybe they shouldn't. I think on the UK versions, Pictures of You is on the album, and Caterpillar's on as well.
Yeah.
So there's a slight variation, but I think the 15 main songs that are on the album proper are.
So you think if you have the opportunity to make another, not Greatest Hits, but the hits that you like would be completely
I'm
different?
hoping that maybe sometime this year. I'm still trying to get the various record companies to release the B-sides from all the singles. So I think probably in tandem with that there'll be maybe some kind of limited edition version of the Greatest Misses or something. Or just my favourite. The songs that I think that are the best Cure songs were never singles, so it's a strange choice.
And why? I mean, did you choose the singles, or were it completely direct for the market that you were targeting, or was that a decision of the company? Or
most of the time, in the early days, we would pick, the single would be the least. I don't know. Well, it would be the most accessible of a bunch of inaccessible songs. So, like on the Faith album, we picked the one that's. None of them were going to ever get airplay, and then sometimes the singles through the 80s, we would pick a song that was going to get radio play because it seemed to make sense. You want to get played on the radio, otherwise there's no point in releasing it. In the later years, I suppose, I've just left it up to the record companies. We made an album and I've said pick a single. I don't really care. I don't think any of them are good singles. But on the most recent album, on Bloodflowers, there were no singles released commercially because I felt...
New tracks.
Yeah.
Where and when were they made? Done?
They were made here, actually. I mixed them in this room.
Oh, right.
In the summer in August of last year.
And why to put like just 2 new songs and not make a whole new record?
Well, we are going to make a whole new record.
Okay.
It's like we're starting actually today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there will be something new. I think the main reason was because we agreed to do the Greatest Hits probably last May. So it was suggested and we agreed, and so by the time we recorded a couple of new songs for it, and we did the acoustic album with it. And then there's promotion to do, and it takes up a certain amount of time. Like we were still playing, we did like a French show, like a TV show in Paris in December, so we're still promoting the album, you know, right up until Christmas.
So we meet again, and I offer my hand all dry and English slow. And you look at me, and I understand, yeah, it's a look I used to know. 3 long years and your favorite man, is that any way to say hello? And you hold me like you'll never let me go.
And how is going, the album in general?
In France and Germany, I suppose the mindset of the group last summer was it was our year off, because we spent the whole of the year before touring the world, and the idea of doing a new album was too soon, because I need time to be able to know that what I want to do next is the right thing to do, because it's not. Maybe like 15 years ago, I always wanted to, I wanted to keep things going, but now I don't really worry about taking a break. It's not like we're kind of a high-profile band.
Yeah, because when I was reading the whole information and biography, and I was impressed about the quantity of year after year of working and touring, and so I thought, from where these guys get the energy of really go year after year after year?
Well, last year was the first proper year off.
Yeah. And what did you do?
Well, it turned into a greatest hits year, so it wasn't really a year off. We did one show last year, and that was it. So the first 6 months of last year was a break, and I think it's just a question of me remaining enthusiastic about what I do, and also being honest about why I do it. If I was still trying to get the group kind of like somewhere after almost 25 years, I would be insane. You know? It's like I have to like enjoy. You know, for the last 10 years, I've enjoyed what the group does in a way. I don't worry about whether we get paid in the radio. I don't worry about whether we sell. I don't worry about that sort of the marketing side of things. Because it would take away the fun of it. You know? So I'm always trying to make what we do into more of an artistic thing than a commercial thing. But but at the same time, I'm not naive enough to believe that we can keep going if we don't make music that people want to hear. And there has to be that kind of balance with what we do.
And do you think that the fans are changing completely from, well, I suppose so, obviously, because of the age and everything, but would you care about who buy records? Well,
when we play concerts, the age range is pretty much constant, actually, throughout the years and around the world. But I think that's more to do with the age of people that go to concerts. Older people just don't go to concerts very much. You know. They go to festivals, but they don't really go to concerts. But the people that buy records, I mean, it's now become a huge age range, and I mean culturally, it's funny because in this country the Cure's perceived in a very particular way, and yet around the world we're seen in a very different way. So it's kind of odd, really, because I've been back in England for a couple of months. I'm sort of reverting back to my sort of English mentality with regards to the band, and yet when we get sort of like we travel. The Cure sort of means something different to me. So we were tempted to actually go and record out of the country for this next record.
All right.
I enjoyed that when we did the Kiss Me album in France. So we may still, we're doing preliminary stuff here, but we may well go somewhere else.
All right.
Perhaps Mexico.
Show me how you do that trick. The one that makes me scream, she said. The one that makes me laugh, she said. Threw her arms around my neck. Show me how you do it, and I promise that I'll run away with you. I'll run away with
you. Do you like the beach, I think?
I live on the beach, actually. I live right. My garden turns into the beach, but it's not really a Mexican beach. It's a stony Brighton beach. There's a bit of difference. So.
But the colors of the sea, the blue, the typical blue-green Caribbean sea.
It's very tempting.
Because in the Blue Flowers in the last record, I remember, the song that there's I don't know, a man or a woman, or maybe a boy or girl in the beach. So my conception of that beach was that blue, wonderful green sky.
It's not.
And it's not.
It's my beach. It's grey sky, grey
right.
sea, grey beach.
Yeah. And can
It wouldn't have been the same song if it. See, if I was writing in Mexico, there'd be like. I mean, that's why it turns into that. You know, there'd be lots of up stuff.
and going in that sense, can you explain me? Because obviously I was young at that time. But I think I don't understand exactly what is this concept of, can we call it dark period, or is dark is sad, what is it? Because I don't know, my mother asked me like, why these people is like so just dressed in black, and there's loads of people in black and dark, and it's...
I can't answer why they're wearing black, can I?
But why you are?
Well, it's it slightly amuses me, right, that line of questioning, and has done for particularly over the last few months, when we're out promoting a Great Hits album, which is completely full of like the most idiot pop songs that any band's ever written, you know, and like Love Cats and Why Can't I Be You, and you know, it's just almost every, you know, Friday I'm in Love. Every song's really kind of like up. It's all like the videos are all like really crass. And yet I'm still fielding questions about why we're such a dark, moody band. I mean, the difficulty with The Cure is that we don't occupy just one particular space. And people find it very difficult, who aren't fans, to appreciate that we do different things at different times. So I mean, when we're on stage, the shows will sometimes last for 2.5 hours or even 3 hours. And within that period of time, we go through pretty much every kind of, it's like, and it reflects the character of the band, it reflects my character. I mean, I do generally tend to wear dark colours, I must admit. I very rarely wear white or flowers, but there's a balance in what we do between like a happier side, a lighter side, and a darker side. But the reason why there's more kind of like I suppose the gloomy stuff, to be really kind of like dumb about it, is because the inspiration to write, for me, comes with reflection, and with reflection comes a sense of melancholy, because it's time passing. It's a very old thing, and it's a very old concept. And a lot of people, I suppose in some ways you could say, suffer from the same disease, but I don't think it is. It's like, I find it very difficult to write genuinely happy songs. It's just a fact. When I'm really happy, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy a lot of the time. When I am, I don't feel like writing a song. I don't think I must get this down on paper. So it's just different. I find that the music that I write, that I feel really satisfied with, is generally melancholic in nature, and so therefore the group has got that kind of slightly melancholic tinge. But we do, it frustrates me sometimes when people try and just push us into the corner and say we're a goth band, or like we're really dark, because there's so much more to it. But I really gave up about 10 years ago getting too worried about it, because it's like, it's a waste of time.
Sorry to bring it back.
No, that's all right. I mean, the funniest thing, like I did an interview, and they showed the video that we did for Just Say Yes, one of the new songs, where I'm with Saffron, kind of jumping about, and I am actually wearing a flowery shirt, I think, in one bit. And then straight afterwards, they're going, why are you, why is the Cure still a goth band? And I said, please. It's like, the thing is, we're disowned by goths, like we're so not goth in the goth world that it's like it's untrue. But it just, funny enough, in the paper last week they had a puzzle, and I was part of it, and it was names of places, and the pictorial clues, and it was Gotham City, and they had a picture of me for the goth part, so I could never escape it. So I have to just accept it.
So can we talk now about, sorry to keep going like a little bit back, but I think it's important because the channel, Telehit, was supposed to play only Spanish music or Latin music in a way. So like 3 years ago, if I'm not wrong, or 2 years ago, we start with English. I think it's the best thing they have ever done. But I think it's important for the people who's watching, like, to know a little bit more about like the 80s, and what is your opinion about this 80s revival that is like always in fashion, in music, bands who want to go back to the sounds of the 80s and being used such an important part of the 80s. What is your opinion about it? About this revival? Is authentic, is not, is just postmodern?
I think it kind of falls into two camps really. There's the bands that actually existed in the 80s that are coming back because they miss it so much, and then there's the ones who wish they had been there in the first place and are trying to like recreate. I was never a big fan of very much that happened in the 80s. I mean, I was kind of at either end. I mean, when I think back, the 80s was sort of in 3 periods. It wasn't really one decade for me. I mean, I think it's too simplistic. And I really liked the Human League in the early part of the 80s. I thought they were really good. They changed from an interesting band in the late 70s into like a really good pop band in the 80s. And they were like my favourite of that glamorous sort of 80s. And the Associates as well I loved. I thought they were the 2 kind of key bands. And in the middle of the 80s, there wasn't really that much that I enjoyed. To be honest, I felt everything was. I thought we were about the only good thing going for a couple of years. I can't remember actually. It was a bit of a blurry period. And then towards the end, I really enjoyed bands like Ride and Chapter House and stuff. So I liked when that kind of baggy scene started. I thought some of that was really pretty good. But really, overall, through the 80s, the Cure was like enclosed in its own world. I wasn't really paying much attention to what went on. I was just kind of like, I was completely obsessed with what we did, and I was pretty much oblivious. You know, we used to turn up and do like festivals and pop shows and stuff, and I wouldn't know half the people that were there, really. But I don't feel like I missed out. Like they were awful. You know? But it's probably the same now. You know, I think there's only so much good stuff at any given period. I think
but any of the people that now is going back, or maybe more in the electronic kind of way, or maybe Woman that have a really kind of pop sound of the 80s, but do you like any of the things that now are doing things?
I'm not really, because I can remember when Like a Virgin came out, and I really didn't like it. I just didn't like the sound, and that kind of defined the sound for years. It was like everyone aspired to it. I don't know, I suppose culturally I'm slightly tainted, because the 80s to me was a 10-year period when I felt, because of, like, you know, it's referred to as the Thatcher years. I mean, there was an incredible running down of things that I thought were good about England. The mood of the country changed, and there was like an increase in the power of the tabloid press, and you know, there's a lot of things outside of music that really irritated me and upset me about living through that decade. In fact, I left England for a couple of years in the 80s, and because I found myself getting so angry at every decision that was made politically and everything like that, and I really just didn't like the environment I was living in. So I left, and I went to France for a while. I went to Open Island, actually, just to the Guinness, I think.
And comparing to nowadays, how do you think?
Well,
because one of the things that amazed me here is that everything that is released, every record, every theater, every movie, anything that has to promote is just gorgeous, the best of the best. You know that in the tabloids or in the tube or in the bus are these who says who about, like David Bowie says this is the best album ever. It's all about what other people think about the play or the movie, and so people go because maybe I don't know, such director says such a thing about such a movie. So
I think it's probably the same. It's just that I think that
politically.
Well, I mean, I'm old enough to sort of I remember in the 70s as an example. I mean, when I was a teenager, the pace of everything was slightly slower, and it was at times I suppose it was frustrating, but at the same time, you kind of like you were given more time to form an opinion. It wasn't kind of like pushed down your throat, and then the following day it was completely forgotten, and then you're on to a new subject. Which is that the pace of everything has increased to a degree where nothing seems to matter that much anymore, because it will all be forgotten by tomorrow.
The next day is going to be another thing. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, in musical terms, I think I'd find it very difficult if I was starting now with The Cure. I'd find it really difficult because I was allowed to have a number of years where we just developed as a band, and we weren't really put under any pressure to have hits. You know, the first sort of 3 albums we did, we went around the world playing to people, you know, we started playing to hundreds of people, and then we played to thousands, and gradually we reached the level where suddenly people started to take notice of us. But by then, we'd been around, you know, we played in Australia 3 times in the first 4 years of the band playing live. So we sort of went out and explored the world before, you know, and nowadays it would be impossible to do that. Yeah, because you would be put under so much scrutiny every time you did something that if you fucked up or something, you would be all over the news, you know. Whereas, I mean, I wouldn't survive because my behaviour would be, you know.
I also get the feeling that nowadays it's all about like being in the top like more quickly, you know. In the football, like you have to have a no one that is 18, and in the music you have to be like very very young to achieve that goal. So I think that because of that we have like such a crap, very top of the top.
Yeah,
people.
but taking it out, you know, thinking of things in a bigger context, and like in the global context, there are only still a small number of musical artists who can actually play concerts or sell records in more than kind of like a handful of countries. It's like in every country you go in, you're told who's big. It's like in this country, it's like X is the best thing ever. But if you step outside of this country, no one's ever heard of them.
Yeah, right,
and it's like, but you're never allowed to know that because otherwise they might seem less glamorous. But it's I mean, I enjoy the position that we've reached with The Cure over the years. I mean, in that we can go out and play to people who want to listen to us, you know, and we make records for those people. I'm not really worried about trying to get people to listen to what I do if they're not going to enjoy it. I think that it's another route to madness because like we're far too old, you know, and we don't fit. We never have. And for me to kind of worry if we're going to get played on the radio, like I said at the start, it would take all the enjoyment out of it.
So actually, when you're doing sound, you don't think.
I imagine if I'm at home, when I discover someone that I really like a band like Mogwai, they're like quite a young band.
What's the name again?
Mogwai.
Mogwai.
They're a Scottish band, and they've just made their third album, and they're a fantastic band. I very much doubt if they'll ever have a number one, but they play to enough people to keep going, and the music they make is absolutely sensational. So it's the best thing I've heard in years, and I would encourage anyone to buy their records and to listen to them. But the fact is that anyone probably won't because they're not kind of been told about it enough. But it doesn't mean. I mean, I'm really pleased that I've discovered that band when I discovered them, and because it gave me something more to listen to, which is all it's about. So when we're making music, I'm thinking of someone like me sitting somewhere who's going to like find what we do and really enjoy it. That's the reason that we do it.
Perfect. And it's getting harder to find those kind of music. Is when you get.
No, it's not. It's not actually. I tell you what,
I don't want to say when you get old.
No, because since I was born, the population of the world's doubled. It's a pretty staggering fact. And so even if like percentage-wise, the same percentage of people like stuff like bands like The Cure, it means there's twice the number of people. So I'm laughing.
So you're still going and buying
that's
records?
Called manipulating statistics. We're currently free of. Contractually of all labels. Like the Greatest Hits was the last thing that we did for any of the major labels that we've been on for the last 20 years. And as to what we do next, we're kind of undecided. I thought it would be nice to record an album and then decide what to do with it.
All right.
So maybe we'll do it on our own label.
Good. I get in your page, in the internet page, and I saw one of the musicians or movies that you like, places that you like, and I want to ask you what exactly you like about Jennifer Lopez, or it's just the movie.
This is where you cut to an advert.
The movie, I don't know, Selena, in her performance in Selena, or maybe, or just her, because you know that in Argentina it's another band, Ilia Kuriaki and the Valderramas. And they made a song exactly just like an tribute of Jennifer Lopez too, so you're not the only one.
Yeah,
but I think there's more like physical approach.
Do you?
What do you
suggest I'm not in love with her mind?
I don't know, you know her?
Well, I struggled to, when I was doing that, I was trying to list my favourite actors and actresses, and I wanted to be kind of like, I have the same number for whatever reason. I wanted the same number of actors as actresses, and I found that the numbers of actors were actually starting to outnumber the number of actresses by about 3 to 1, and I was struggling to add names. And it's quite a long time ago I did that list. Actually, it was before Jennifer Lopez became massive.
Oh, right.
I saw her do it. She was presenting something at the Oscars or something, and I thought, right, I'll put her down. I don't think I'd even seen her in a film, but there's just something about her.
Well, you should. That's great. Selena is just.
I'll tell you what I've seen her in. That film with is it called Anaconda?
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck me, is that a bad film? That's got to be
really?
one of the worst films I've made. So
And
that's another good reason for it.
your fascination with Disneyland is something about reality or fun?
I think it's
Funny
more the pressure that I get. Whenever I go to Disney, I always take. Like, I went there for New Year's Eve this year.
For Euro
To
Disney.
Euro Disney, yeah.
Alright.
And I took 17 children
Alright.
and 5 adults and me. I think the pleasure I get from it is actually vicarious. Is watching the children have fun.
Alright.
Because although I must admit, spending New Year's Eve at Disney is a really good way to spend New Year's Eve because you've only got to find where the lift is and you're home. It's excellent.
Amazing. What else? Team Pope and your relation with, because as a video music channel, are you planning to keep working with Team Pope? Did you just quit working with Team Pope? Team Pope.
Tim Pope, he lives just down the road from me actually. I'm seeing him on Saturday.
Alright.
I haven't seen him for quite a long time, about a year. I'm hoping that we want to make a film this year, later in the year. We want to do a concert and film it because we haven't filmed us playing, and I figure if we're going to stop, we should really make another film before we do, because the last time we made a film was like 10 years ago. So I'll probably start talking to him about doing that. I wanted to do something that was probably for a DVD package that would be like a live concert and also a kind of a story of The Cure. So like an interview and old clips and just a kind of a montage of what we've done in 25 years.
Because with this release also they released the DVD with the videos and
but
some
nothing
of the
else,
acoustic...
just the videos there.
Right.
You need something more, I think. But I think it needs to be done with a bit more kind of attention to detail, really, because there's a lot of stuff that we've done people are aware of, but there's a lot of stuff that people aren't aware of. So I've got boxes and boxes of videos at home that I just need to go through and pick extracts from, and just, you know, old TV programmes and stuff. And then getting everyone that's ever been in The Cure and just sit them down and get them to sort of reminisce, you know, and try and make a film that's a bit more like you're sitting in a room with friends just talking about, you know, and hopefully you'll get the feeling that you're getting some kind of insight, I suppose, into what it's like to be in a band like The Cure.
So those are the plans for do another record?
Yeah, I think we're going to probably do some festivals in the summer.
In this summer?
In Europe, yeah.
Wow.
But I don't...
You think the festivals have changed? Because when I arrived, and obviously was one of the points was good to come here, the festivals, and I was kind of disappointed with the Glastonbury and that kind of festivals. I don't know why, because when I saw like you were in Glastonbury, and it was like completely get another feeling of seeing The Cure in the festival or seeing now Travis or groups like that. So it's like kind of...
I think, well, it's difficult because I've never ever been to a festival unless I've played at one.
Right. Okay.
I really hate them.
Like go camping,
Yeah,
loads of camps.
If I'm going to go camping, I'd much rather go on my own.
All right.
I think when we've played festivals, it's not so much when we've done Glastonbury, we don't get to say who's on the bill. Like we agree to do it or we don't do it.
Right.
We have no input at all. When we do the European festivals, we get a lot more chance to kind of decide who else will play with it. It's not kind of like authoritarian, but we suggest other bands that might be good. Like, so if you're coming to see us, you'll probably enjoy these other bands. Or conversely, bands that we might want to see ourselves, who we're not quite sure about, or bands that we think might make us play better because they might be good or better than us, you know. So we try and have an input into it and try and make the festival something that's like enjoyable as a day. A lot of festivals nowadays, I mean, that's a kind of like, it's an old-fashioned idea. Festivals nowadays tend to get bands from as many different kind of genres as they can, so they're getting more people.
And that's why you see, I don't know, but it's also maybe because
it sometimes works if you're prepared to like to be there and experience other kinds of music. It can work. But I've been told, some of my nephews have been to some and they think it's really good. They see bands like metal bands or something like new metal, and one of them's turned to a new metal fan. You've never seen Korn before and saw them at the festival and thought they were fantastic. So it can work, but I think a lot of the time you just like you go to the beer tent.
I'm just watching you, and I don't
Is it like the idea of doing still photography, or
Yeah,
or
it's
more like
no, it's a still photography, and I don't know everything. It's not just. It's amazing. I'm being interviewed by Robert Smith. You're
Don't know the answer. Come on, come on.
And I don't know how to respond. Well, I can talk to you about my. And you're going to tour in Mexico.
How can I get out of this promise? Well,
Hopefully.
I know that before we stop,
Okay.
that we will play again in South America, and I know that if we play in South America, we will definitely play in Mexico City,
Okay.
at the very least, and hopefully we'll play in 2 or 3 other places. But as to when, I don't know. It depends. It's kind of unlikely it's this year, but it might be. It's one of those things that we've been asked to play in Japan this year, and I'm thinking maybe it would be a good thing just to get up and do it. So
Amazing.
the same with South America. It was each time we've been there, I've really enjoyed it. It's just making the effort to
Alright.
kind of get on the plane.
Okay.
Because I hate flying.
You're afraid to fly.
I'm not afraid of flying. I just find it incredibly tedious. It's like
Okay.
I can think of better things to do, but one of those things is not getting on a boat to Mexico.
Perfect.
I think I'll go by plane.
Not a good
It's
idea.
all the same to you.
Well, thank you very
Right,
much.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
viviéramos en un mundo perfecto, Boys Don't Cry hubiera llegado al número 1, dijo Robert Smith. Pero la canción más famosa de The Cure no fue un éxito sino hasta muchos años después de ser grabada. Ni el rock, ni el dark, ni el pop serían lo que hoy son sin esta banda. Esto es Pure The Cure. Y esta es su historia.
A brief history of the Cure.
The Cure no comenzó como el quinteto de niños dark atormentados con los ojos pintados de negro y los labios aún más pintados de rojo. Cuando hicieron Boys Don't Cry, eran 3, tenían peinados aburridos y no usaban maquillaje. Es más, en un principio, Robert ni siquiera era el vocalista de la banda.
When I started the group, I really didn't expect to be successful. That wasn't my ambition. I never really cared if it was successful. I just wanted to be an artist when I was young. I wanted to make music that would last. I wanted to make music that would make people kind of feel things for years and years. Essentially, a vehicle for me to express myself, I suppose.
El viejo trío de The Cure ganó un concurso organizado por el sello alemán Hansa para grabar un disco, pero rechazaron la oferta cuando se dieron cuenta de que la disquera buscaba un grupo prefabricado. Querían caras bonitas. The Cure era un poco distinto.
Right from the start, we didn't really sign contracts, we didn't have managers, we still haven't got a manager.
Chris Parry, un productor visionario, tenía ganas de iniciar su propia disquera y consiguió, tras unas cuantas rondas de cervezas, firmar a The Cure para la recién creada Fiction Records. El primer disco se llamó Three Imaginary Boys, y al contrario de lo que sucedía con otras bandas que querían vender sus atributos en las portadas, Robert aparecía como una lámpara, acompañado de un refrigerador y una aspiradora.
First album was the big thing. It was when Three Imaginary Boys came out. I can remember going to our local record shop and just seeing it there. I was like, that was it. I'd kind of like achieved my ambition. I could have just stopped then, really. Nothing was ever quite as dramatic as that, as just seeing that first album cover, you know, because you kind of think that's never going to happen.
Con esa primera portada en los aparadores siguieron grabando canciones que no triunfaron de inmediato, canciones que fueron bombas de tiempo.
Como Boy Don't Cry no tenía video, le hicieron el video después. Entonces pusieron 3 nenitos góticos en una tela y estaban ellos como no se los veía, se veía la sombra y se veían los nenitos haciendo el playback.
Because I think Boys Don't Cry probably is a kind of definitive pop single, because that's the first thing I ever wrote that I thought, it sounds like it could have been done in the 1960s.
Boys don't cry.
Really, when Simon joined in 1979 and we did the 17 Seconds album, that I thought for the first time that I was involved in a group that could actually do something.
Mientras seguía como líder de The Cure, Robert comenzó a tocar la guitarra en Susie and the Banshees, que para entonces ya era una banda reconocida. Tal vez a Robert empezó a gustarle tanto el look de Susie que decidió adoptarlo poco a poco.
Y que le sacó ventaja a Siux y a todos los post-punk de su época, y que fue más pop. A mí eso me convence.
We went through a progression where we did this, 3 albums where we did kind of get heavier and heavier and darker, which I think generates this whole notion of us being this kind of like dark, gloomy band.
Otro tema también grandioso es Afores. Afores a mí me vuelve loco.
Y a mí me gusta, creo que Afores, esa clase de canciones, la época más oscura.
Doing the Pornography album, I mean, when we'd finished that, I knew that we'd made an album that I thought that would be our defining album when we made that record. But when I kind of came to, and I realised what we'd done, I thought, this is it. This is what I've been working towards.
Pero para cuando Pornography, el disco más oscuro de la banda, salió a la venta, los problemas internos y los excesos del grupo los llevan a interrumpir su gira y a su desintegración.
Probably when the group broke up on the Pornography tour, when Simon left, I felt very disheartened.
at that point, I felt very unhappy about life in general.
I'd love to say it's because my overwhelming talent on bass that Robert picked me. No, Robert and I were mates, and that was it.
I always think of like Simon and me in that period. I mean, Lowell was pretty much a peripheral sort of figure in that it, musically and like lyrically didn't actually add to what we were doing. So the kind of antagonism that was building up between me and Simon added to all like, the atmosphere and the feeling of those records.
Con una carrera que parecía no ir hacia ningún lado y sin más músicos en la banda, un derrotado Robert Smith por fin se dio cuenta y dijo: yo soy The Cure. Solo y abatido tras la inminente desaparición del grupo, Robert Smith quiso darle un giro radical al sonido de The Cure con los sencillos Let's Go to Bed y The Walk y sus particulares videos.
I was trying to get played on the radio, and they sound, you know, I don't like that side of the band really.
La mayoría de los videos de Cure fueron dirigidos por el mismo director que se apellida Pope, Tim Pope.
When I came along, their music was kind of really quite sort of dirgy. No, I'm going to take loads of drugs and drop into this hole and disappear. And then suddenly I came along when they'd done Let's Go to Bed and there was a whole change of mood.
De The Cure, ese fue el primer video que vi de The Cure y mi primer contacto con ellos. Y esa rola me encantaba, así lo ponía y le regresaba y hasta que el cassette se hizo pedazo.
It's really strange actually because most of the general media around the world became aware of The Cure through the stupid pop videos.
But of course, the reason the videos work is because the songs are so damn good.
Aún con este nuevo sonido, Robert quería más y necesitaba una banda. Con una nueva alineación de ensueño, The Cure por fin llegó a las listas de popularidad y hasta salir en MTV. Una luz cegadora parecía por fin invadir la penumbra que Robert y sus canciones habían habitado desde el principio.
For the first time I felt that I had a group of people around me who could play what I could hear in my head. I was kind of like, I would say, let's try it this way, and everyone would play it. And it was like, I was just kind of like so full of joy that year.
Que todo sea close to me.
Que era de G donde que sí, que se caían en un acantilado adentro y tocaban como un peine, cositas adentro.
I like Close to Me. That song's really good.
Me too.
El éxito de The Cure alcanzó mayores dimensiones con Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me.
I think it was one of the first cassettes that I stole.
Disco doble con 4 sencillos que los llevó a visitar Argentina en 1987.
That was one of the most kind of manic situations that we've ever experienced was the time that we played in Argentina.
Hicieron 2 shows que fueron un desastre total. Estaba todo mal, era todo un lío, estaba gente peleándose, muchos que querían entrar gratis, inclusive gente tirando cosas al escenario cuando estaba tocando The Cure, que era la banda que habían ido a ver en teoría.
Se mataron perros en ese show acá. Sí, los perros que la policía te tiraba para que se coló la mitad de la gente. Fue un show de alto desmán.
Todavía no había cultura de shows grandes en nuestro país y entonces la gente no entendía si tenía que ir a escuchar música o si tenían que ir a agarrarse a trompadas.
Había una fogata y la gente tiraba cosas a la fogata.
Afterwards I realized that they were actually really good concerts.
Just Like Heaven, just because it's the obvious one, but I really like that. It's just a really good song to me.
Mi canción favorita de The Cure es Just Like Heaven, pero del Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me.
A mí me gusta mucho Just Like Heaven porque es ese tipo de canciones que te hacen sentir feliz.
Y por fin llegó Disintegration, su disco más exitoso a la fecha. Love Song llegó al número 2 en Estados Unidos y los VMAs recibieron en el escenario por primera vez a The Cure.
Cuando hicieron Disintegration es un disco que continúa hasta hoy siendo así como un disco super top.
Particularmente a mí me gusta mucho el de Fascination Street por la canción y porque ese disco también rompió como que del estilo que traían, volvió a marcar una frescura en el sonido de la banda.
Records of a certain type, it's very, very rare that we follow it up with something the same.
Y así lanzaron Wish, un nuevo sonido que se convirtió en otro éxito de ventas y en un íntimo concierto en el cual interpretaron sus canciones con instrumentos de juguete. Por fin grabaron lo que siempre quisieron, su propio MTV Unplugged. Está bien, en realidad es lo que nosotros siempre quisimos. En el apogeo del grunge, cuando todas las bandas habían querido ser como el desubicado Kurt Cobain o sonar como los furiosos Pearl Jam, The Cure seguía viviendo a su propio ritmo.
Una cosa muy admirable a nivel estético es que ha mantenido su personaje, se inventó un look y lo mantuvo, digamos que ignoró las modas que pasaron.
I mean, The Cure for me is just, it's never been about being fashionable or about being modern. I mean, any band that sounds cutting edge, the disadvantage is that like today's news is like tomorrow's, has-beens.
There are a few bands that are timeless and last through many different eras and many different generations.
Because I think the whole idea of there being fashion in music is terrible.
Todavía es moderno.
Es moderno, digamos, eso es lo bueno.
How new does new have to be?
I suppose Robert Smith and I are the only guys that really know how to wear lipstick. Although he puts his on really funny, but I like it that way. So I do too.
Robert Smith and The Cure have been able to change with the times without changing to the times. You know what I'm saying? Like they grow and each record sounds different than the record before it, but it doesn't sound like whatever's going around at the time. They kind of keep growing as if pop radio never existed, as if they were never this huge band, as if he's just making these demos in his basement, right?
Si todavía se maquilla igual, es un genio.
Toda la vida los tacharon de oscuros, pero en la etapa más sombría de los 90, cuando el grunge amargaba la vida de los adolescentes, The Cure decidió sacar su sencillo más feliz y optimista.
I remember seeing Friday I'm in Love. Yeah, I remember seeing that like crazy. So that's actually part of my MTV growing up.
Con un video que incluía un sombrero de charro, The Cure visitó México haciendo temblar el volcán de los Tigres de Monterrey.
Yeah, we've never been to Mexico City. We played in Monterrey in 1992.
Un evento pues nacional porque recuerdo que solo pisaron Monterrey, entonces toda la gente del DF se lanzó para allá. Fue todo un espectáculo, ¿no?
Todo Latinoamérica ahí en Monterrey.
Yo estudiaba en la universidad donde fue el concierto y fue ver a toda esta gente vampiresca, todos pintados que pues, nunca los ves en la calle de Monterrey, ¿no?
The concert was good, but I felt, like I've said, it was just stupid to kind of just play in Monterrey. We should have gone to Mexico City. At the end of the 1992 tour, I was a different person. I changed and I hated what I'd turned into. And as I was living in a bubble.
Poco acostumbrado a habitar en las nubes del éxito, Robert volvió a hundirse en la penumbra. Un antiguo integrante de la banda lo demandó por el uso del nombre The Cure.
Historically, whenever we finish the world tour, the group breaks up. At least one person leaves, and I hate everyone that's left in the group, And then it takes about a year for me to start talking to them all.
Dos integrantes salieron del grupo, y para encontrar a su nuevo baterista, Robert tuvo que publicar un anuncio anónimo en el periódico.
Well, there was an advert in a paper called Melody Maker, and it was, I think the ad said, very famous band needs drummer, no metalheads. So I answered that, and that was it.
Wild Mood Swings no resultó popular.
Never second guessed an audience. You can never imagine, like, what does the audience want to hear? Because it's the first small step towards doing things that you don't want to do.
A nadie le gustó tampoco la idea de ver a Robert cambiando los sacos negros por jerseys de hockey durante su gira por Norteamérica.
It's a bit of a cheap ploy, this, to get around the audience, you know, who wear the champion shirt, say, oh, I love hockey. I have no idea what hockey even is.
You're a football fan.
I'm a football fan, a soccer fan, yeah.
Peor aún, en su sencillo 13, cambió los murciélagos por trompetas mexicanas.
In fact, they were Cuban, not Mexican. We couldn't find any Mexican trumpet players, so we got Cubans instead. I don't know why. It sounded exotic, and they played out of tune like Mexicans do. Wish I hadn't said that.
Everyone feels good in a room. She swims, too cool in her head. She sings, a buzzing like them killer bees. Tell me this is not for real. Please tell me this is not for real.
The words came from an incident that happened to me in a club in Mexico.
Okay.
And there was that kind of out-of-tune trumpet playing going on. And I just remembered, someone bought me a tape. I can't remember who it was by. And it had the same trumpet sound. And I remembered this night in Mexico City. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was in somewhere else in Mexico. I can't remember the name. Small town.
One of my favorite and vastly most underrated Cure songs ever is the 13th. It is just awesome. It's explosive. It's one of the biggest choruses I've ever heard.
The story is loosely based on, I should be careful on what happened, but I didn't get married. You know,
Okay.
Con el cambio de milenio y tras el cumpleaños número 40 de Smith, The Cure se dio cuenta que debía volver a sus bases. Lanzó el disco Blood Flowers, recuperando el estilo oscuro, denso e introspectivo que el álbum anterior había dejado a un lado.
When we were making it, it was intended to be the last Cure album. I wanted to make the best Cure album. I didn't really care if it was the last. And the strange thing has been that since making the album and how it's turned out and doing the shows, I actually feel really good about the Cure again.
Robert pareció por fin asumirse como un ícono y decidió interpretar íntegramente sus 3 discos más tenebrosos en larguísimos y selectos conciertos en un espectáculo único que quedó plasmado en el DVD Trilogy.
When I made Pornography with the band in 1982, I had no idea that it was going to be a trilogy. If I had considered making a trilogy of albums with Pornography and Disintegration, the Blood Flowers, I wanted it to be the third one.
Consolidado ya su lugar en la historia como un clásico, el siguiente disco de la banda los trajo de nuevo a México, donde llenaron 3 noches consecutivas el Palacio de los Deportes al vender todos los boletos en menos de 2 horas.
There was a big petition as well on the internet, which I kind of, you know, we would have felt so guilty if we hadn't.
Yo creo que México es uno de los países que tiene pues, más fans así en toda Latinoamérica de The Cure.
It was amazing when we put the tickets on sale and they kind of sold out instantly. It was really weird. But the album did really well here as well, so it's, yeah, I mean, everywhere we've been, it's kind of...
Meses más tarde, MTV le otorgó el honor más grande de todos en un concierto donde AFI, Razorlight, Deftones, Blink-182 y Marilyn Manson les rindieron homenaje. Todos reunidos en una ceremonia para reconocer lo inevitable. The Cure es un MTV icon.
So I thought it was fair that they should be the ones that should be involved in the programme, not the people who this year say, oh, I've always loved The Cure. It's too easy to say it now, you know, and everyone wants to get on MTV, so everyone's saying, yeah, I've always loved that band, like, no.
The Cure ha prometido en diversas ocasiones hacer largas giras por Latinoamérica.
I promised that we would play in South America, I think this year, Venezuela.
Wow.
I'd like to go back to Argentina as well, Mexico. When we go to South America next year, we'll definitely play in Argentina, Chile. I've always wanted to go to Peru and Chile and Argentina.
Aprovechemos para disculparnos con The Cure en nombre de la Argentina y que vuelvan a tocar.
We start out with pretty much everywhere in the world. We go, yeah, we'll go there. And at the end, we don't, you know, we end up in Nashville instead of Mexico City. Tell me it's not always like this, is it? You must have like a really cold, dark, rainy season.
Aunque el clima no está en nuestras manos, sí podemos asegurar que este año vuelve a México la banda de las innumerables alineaciones, de los sencillos polémicos y las canciones inmortales, la banda de los vampiros, los gatos y los mariachis, la que le enseñó a maquillarse a la escena, la banda que vio pasar el disco, el grunge, el electropop y eligió seguir haciéndolo a su manera. Vienen todas ellas y una sola. Viene The Cure, la leyenda.
Wow, Robert Smith is the greatest person that ever lived.
Our savior.
Gracias MTV, que esta vez voy a tener una segunda chance de verlos.
Eso, quiero presentarlo en vivo yo.
Vamos a decirle que somos uruguayos.
I just want to wake up and still enjoy the idea of being in The Cure. I suppose that's my ambition.
Este especial de los...
Do you like violence? Wanna see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids? Wanna copy me and do exactly like I did? Try to get messed up worse than my life is? My brain...
You know, that sad, lonely love place.
I can't think of another band that commands that kind of attention.
You could see why they're so legendary.
Their music and their look together is definitely iconic, you know?
Wild hair and this pale face and this smeared lipstick.
His songs are timeless.
He writes about love and heartbreak and depression and, you know, fantasy. I can't think of another band, actually. It's been out 25 years and they're still making good music.
I think they're one of the greatest bands for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MTV icons, The Cure!
Tonight is a celebration of a band whose integrity, passion, melancholy, and humor have made them superstars in stadiums and heroes in bedrooms the world all over. Once upon a time, in a mysterious and distant suburb, there lived a naughty little boy called Robert. Robert dreamed of being a musician, and he chased that dream on stage as soon as he could.
The very first time I ever went on stage was actually with a band called the Crawley Goat Band. He played the kind of weird sort of jug band music. I was about 10.
But they'd run out of goats in Crawley, so Robert formed his first band with his classmates. Looking back on it now, their first gig at school was a total success.
They were just awful, and people just walked off.
The band was called Malice, and that was our only show. And I got thrown out of school because of it.
Starting new bands out of school, Robert soon learnt it's not what you play, but who with and why.
I'd love to say it's my overwhelming talent on bass that Robert picked me. No, Robert and I were mates, and that was it.
Their early existential hits made them a band apart, and they knew that they were unique.
I once read that you were called the Pink Floyd of the 80s. What do you think of that? We're not at all. They're the Cure of the 80s.
I really did think it was us against the world and everything.
And it was a battle that Simon and Robert fought in the dark.
We went through a progression where we did the kind of bit heavier and heavier and darker, which I think generates this whole notion of us being this kind of like dark, gloomy band.
But then into all that darkness came a light, and the songs just got happier.
I think he couldn't continue going down the dark road. The dark road had a dark ending, and it would have done him in if he'd carried on with it.
I wanted us to do kind of 3-minute pop songs.
And everyone liked these 3 minutes.
They're the ones that the kids like and the grandparents. And you don't have to try to like them. They're infectious tunes.
Millions of people love those infectious tunes, and quite a few people joined and left the band over the years until we have this, The Ultimate Cure.
I started working for the band as a guitar roadie.
I answered an advert in the paper.
And you found the wrong number.
When they finished the Kiss Me album, they asked me to join for the tour. After about a week, Robert asked me to stay. He's regretted it ever since.
I think this lineup of the band is the best lineup that we've ever had. It's like a dream come true.
And this dream continues because The Cure are famous all over the world, filling the airwaves with their music, the charts with their albums, and stadiums with their fans.
Their shows are amazing, and they're very long. They get very intense and epic build up, and it's a big emotional development.
And so after 26 years of making magical music and dreaming, these 5 imaginary boys were praised throughout the land and made MTV icons.
And now, your host, the original Antichrist superstar, Mr. Marilyn Manson.
There's no other bands still making music that means so much to me. The Cure showed me that there was more to life than metal. They needed to be darker and heavier than what I already knew, but with something extra. Romance for the ladies, but still heavy and clever too. Here's Blink 182 with A Letter to Elise. Defy, Deftones, and Razorlight pay their tribute to Cure, the masters of the cheerful nightmare, after these special messages. Welcome back to MTV Icon for the Cure. This band, like all great artists, brings together the conscious with the unconscious in a rare combination of mirth and melancholy. What Tim Buckley called in one word, happy sad. That's a reason why they've managed to mean so much to so many. Testing.
Multi-platinum success one year can mean nothing the next. There's hundreds of bands who sold millions of records without ever leaving a trace, but that's not the case with The Cure. After all, you judge the significance of an artist by their impact on the medium.
They're like one of the most important bands in music because they change the way people think about music.
I love groups that are really edgy, groups that say things in styles that are very different, and that's what I love about The Cure, and rock on.
They are mesmerizing and hypnotic and romantic at the same time.
I think there was something beautifully romantic in all of Robert Smith's misery that I related to.
It feels good sometimes to wallow in your own grief and depression and despair, and The Cure are the perfect band to do that.
I love The Cure.
The Cure have always been around my life.
I used to even have dreams about The Cure when I was a kid.
I think we're about 15 years old. I mean, we did a cover of Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah, hugely influenced by them. Well, mainly because of their music, but also Robert Smith's image. I went, I want to be like you.
We've always been flattered by other artists name-checking The Cure.
The music on Californication was, a lot of it was very influenced by The Cure, and no critics ever picked up on that.
The Cure has definitely been a part of our music.
The Cure, only one of the greatest bands ever.
Amazing.
It doesn't really validate what I do, but it enhances what I do immeasurably, to think that we are inspiring other people to do something.
I've been a fan of The Cure since the 80s, you know, but I think it was like with the Disintegration album that I was just like, oh my God.
I bought a cassette tape of The Cure's Disintegration, put it in my van, and just followed the sun west and drove to the sea listening to it. And it's a fine memory of a fine record.
17 Seconds and Faith, those two albums were very influential on Flea and myself.
I'm a big fan of The Cure, but I would say I'm the wrong category fan.